Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com for non-boxing picks. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Today is December 2nd, 2015. One of my philosophies in life is to bet against perfection. You have an opportunity to do so tonight in the National Basketball Association. The Golden State Warriors have opened the season. They're perfect right now. They are on a roll. It's a record-setting roll for the beginning of the year. But they're on a road trip. They barely won at Utah, and they're facing an above 500 Charlotte team in Charlotte. And curiously, the casino is giving Charlotte a +9. In other words, for Charlotte to lose this play, for it not to be a push, Charlotte at home would have to lose by at least 10 points. I like the value. I understand Golden State is, a heavy favorite for a reason. But I like the home team, Charlotte, getting 9 points here tonight. The day is December 2nd, 2015. A couple other quick picks in the NFL this weekend. I know Carolina is off to a great start, just like Golden State is, right? I know Carolina unbeaten, but they're facing a team with one of the best home field advantages in the National Football League and the teams in the division. In other words, the New Orleans Saints play Carolina twice every year. They're not going to be surprised by Cam Newton and Luke Kuechly, right? They know who these guys are. They're familiar with these guys. So I like New Orleans here, the underdog. Sometimes you're going to have to take underdogs, folks. At home, getting 7 points against the Carolina Panthers, right? Whenever you see a big story in the media like Carolina right now, and whenever you look at the personnel and you're thinking, Jonathan Stewart, Ted Ginn, really these guys? Laying 7 on the road is too much already in the National Football League. Here you're laying 7 against a divisional opponent. I like New Orleans +7. Finally, in boxing, in the big battle, in the Big Apple, right? Peter Quillin simply, in my opinion, doesn't have the foot speed to keep up with Danny Jacobs. Understand, these two guys are coming at it completely differently. Peter Quillin, to me, is a size guy. In other words, he's big for a middleweight. He really belongs at 168, quite frankly. So he's a guy who's physically big with a punch, who's able to, overpower you because of the size difference. Danny Jacobs, by contrast, is a cancer survivor, right, who is monitoring his weight every day, who's in great shape, who's already beaten the odds by returning to the sport. Right? I believe Danny Jacobs is the much better athlete than Peter Quillin. I believe Jacobs is going to combine, foot speed, movement with, occasional power shots. I view it as a positive, not a negative, that Danny Jacobs got caught by Sergio Mora and dropped recently, because Danny Jacobs now knows that, look, if I get sloppy in the ring, if I get inattentive in the ring, if I get full of myself in the ring, I could get dropped even by a guy who doesn't have a reputation for having a big punch, which is who Sergio Mora is. Let me also say, too, I'm one of those who believes that Mora is an underrated talent. He's much better defensively than Peter Quillin, right? I think Quillin's a hunter who's not going to know what to do when he's hunted, right? So, I like Danny Jacobs. He's the underdog here, too, right? This video is on 3 underdogs that I like. You're getting a +125 this morning on Danny Jacobs against Peter Quillin, right? I think all Jacobs has to do is to stay away from corners, keep it in the middle of the ring, use lateral movement, pump a jab, have more volume than Peter Quillin, not get dragged into the moment. I like Danny Jacobs, the underdog, over Peter Quillin this weekend. Good luck. I hope you cash all your tickets.